Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, this is going to be some quick updates for my brothers and sisters here in the home state of Washington and directly to the south of us for all of our good friends down in the state of Oregon. As we know, there is all sorts of action going on. Washington State has a new legislative session going, which is shaping up to be as big of a bloodbath as last year's. But more importantly, we need to talk about some of the litigation ongoing with the magazine restrictions passed last legislative session. And then for Oregon, you have a whole litany of problems that you guys are fighting holy hell over. And that, of course, is Oregon Ballot Measure 114 and the ongoing injunction that remains so far in place issued out of Harney County. So today, we're just going to spend a couple minutes, get you all up to speed on what really turns out to be a whole lot of nothing so far. So today, let's spend a couple minutes and talk about what the hell is going on in Oregon and Washington to save your Second Amendment rights. Okay, before we get going down the road we are going down, proud to announce that this video is being brought to you by Federal Way Discount Guns. That's right, Federal Way Discount Guns has been serving South King County now for over 30 years. They are located right here in Federal Way, Washington. Now, in addition to having an amazing retail operation, a really awesome indoor range, and an incredibly helpful and friendly staff, as many of you know, Mo and all of his friends down there at Federal Way Discount Guns has drawn the ire of Washington State Attorney General Robert Ferguson. And in fact, there is a pending action against Federal Way Discount Guns because they sold standard capacity magazines, or allegedly sold standard capacity magazines. Now, if you want to help Mo and everyone else down there at Federal Way Discount Guns with the mountain of legal expenses that they are likely to incur, go ahead and click on this link right here, or you can scan this QR code and you can go to a crowdfunding source where you can help everyone at Federal Way Discount Guns. Listen, it's people like Mo and Gimme Guns over in Selah, Washington, and all these folks that stick their neck out on the line to fight for your Second Amendment rights. So show them some love today. For more information, visit them at federalwaydiscountguns.com. Okay, so 2 issues, 2 states, and 2 groups of viewers that I want to get you up to speed on right away. Let's start in my own backyard, the state of Washington. As we know, we were promised a ruling on the temporary injunction in the matter of Brumback v. Ferguson, which, to refresh your memory, is a challenge to the constitutionality of RCW 9.41.370, better known as Washington Standard Capacity Magazine Ban, filed in the Eastern District of Washington before Judge Dimke and, of course, litigated by our good friend Pete Serrano of the Silent Majority Foundation. Now, despite the fact that we were promised a ruling on December 23rd, we have not yet reached a ruling, and I am shooting this video on January 22nd, a Sunday, so it is quite possible that by the time this video is ready to get out, we will actually have a ruling. However, if we do not, and you're watching this video, there is no ruling yet. Now, as we know, there was some extra pleadings that were filed by Mr. Serrano. Of course, that got the AG's pants all up in a knot, and they had to object, and so the judge had to deal with what exhibits, if any, were going to be admitted after the deadline and things like that. So we know she's been working on the case. We know she's been paying attention. There is a belief, my belief, so take it for what it's worth, that there is a lot of things going on in the Ninth Circuit right now. We know that Judge Benitez is sitting on the big case out of California right now that had been GVR'd back out of the Supreme Court. And so is she waiting to hopefully get some kind of guidance from the Ninth Circuit? It is possible, but candidly, we're getting to a point right now, tail end of January 2023, we do anticipate a ruling here soon. But in the meantime, no. We do not have an injunction on the magazine ban. Now, for my Oregon folks, okay, you have a huge mess on your hands, but you have one judge down there in Harney County, Judge Ratio, who has managed to enjoin all aspects of this law. So at this point, there is no portion, fortunately, of Oregon Ballot Measure 114, which is implemented. The magazine ban is not implemented. The pre-purchasing licensing requirement is not implemented. the mandatory training is not implemented. The additional statutory waiting periods, which I will tell you is probably the one part of Ballot Measure 114 that could survive constitutional scrutiny, but even that remains enjoined at the current time. Now, as we know, we have other dates coming up in March where the state of Oregon has been ordered to come back and see, and we know that they have a check-in date about this whole licensing regime and when they're going to be able to actually have some type of infrastructure in place where they could then attempt to implement that licensing requirement. Of course, that will necessitate all new sets of hearings in which Judge Ratio will determine whether or not, even if they have the infrastructure in place, is he going to allow the law to actually go in effect or keep it enjoined. So the moral of the story, Washington, the moral of the story, Oregon, is I guess no news is, in fact, no news. For Oregon, no news is good news because you actually continue to live mildly freer than you would have with the implementation of Ballot Measure 114. For our Washington residents, no news is not good news because we still are living under the guise of Washington Standard Capacity Magazine ban. If there are any more updates, I can assure you, the minute we get an update, we will get on here right away and get you up to speed so that you are always apprised of what the law is. Listen, in the meantime, if you guys got any questions about what's going on in Washington, what's going on in Oregon, or what's left of your Second Amendment rights, remember, you can always contact us at WashingtonGunLaw.com, or you can call us directly at 425-765-0487. Now, in the meantime, let's remember, part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.